First, a few words about my company and myself. Dataciders is today the leading service provider for data and artificial intelligence in the DACH region. And we have been doing that for more than 20 years now, so we can certainly call ourselves AI pioneers. We are a team of about 1,000 people working on that in various domains, and supply chain management is one of our core areas of expertise. Well, our clients, often large corporations, some of our clients are really here and don't know, and also many mid-size companies. Well, about myself, Karsten Schaaf. I'm Managing Director at Dataciders and responsible for the supply chain management division. And at the beginning of my career, in fact, I worked in the nuclear safety research and was involved in the development of safety concepts, risk management concepts for nuclear power plants, especially for severe accidents. That's what happened in Fukushima. And then I moved on to supply chain management via various positions, and have been doing that now for more than 25 years in various roles, including management functions, line functions, and also consulting. Well, my focus today very much on supply chain strategy, integrated business planning, structural issues, supply chain design, and also supply chain risk management for many years. And I'm also interested for some time, of course, in the question how we can make better use of data in the supply chain, because that is ultimately the base or the prerequisite for a useful application of AI technologies. And you all know, of course, the AI topic. I think it's to some degree overhyped at the moment. And the nagging question remains how to find the right use cases for artificial intelligence and to bring business value, really business value, into the company. Well, this slide shows our portfolio in supply chain management. At the top, you see the structural issues in terms of supply chain optimization of the network design of the supply chain. And then we have an old and always very fresh topic, integrated supply chain planning or integrated business planning in conjunction with advanced planning system. And then the topic for today, AI-based supply chain risk management. And you see a lot of other topics. You can read through them below, where we have a special expertise. A small digression into the field of reactor safety and relapse, so to speak, in my dark past. A fundamental safety principle for nuclear facilities is what is known as defense in depth concept. And defense in depth explicitly assumes that failures will occur, that people will make mistakes, or that events may occur that exceed design expectations or specifications. And therefore, defense in depth relies on a multi-layer safety concept with various independent and successive layers of protection. As you see here, starting at the top from the prevention of abnormal events through the control of these events, and then the management of accidents for which the safety system have been designed, and finally the mitigation of beyond design accidents. When we look on the other side, on a exemplary supply chain, from the left side, the end tiers on the left side, our own production and delivery network to the customers on the right side, we face a lot of challenges. And the first one is that normally this network is historically grown, and the risk design was not explicitly included in the design. We often find unclear make or buy decision at the early stage of product development that fixes a large part of the risk design of the supply chain. And the traditional supplier management typically looks one tier upstream and partly on a second tier, but the famous end-to-end visibility that is talked about for many years is lacking in most companies. That would mean I put myself on any node in a supply chain, I have complete transparency what is going on upstream or downstream in the supply chain. And as a result, many companies do not achieve a prevention of accidents, but fall into an reactive mode. And this became very clear during the semiconductor crisis, when many companies formed task forces and desperately get the information to get information about the supply network and allocated manually bottleneck materials to the customers. What would an approach like defense in depth mean for such a complex situation and for risk balancing? You see here in the middle the event, a damage or a disruption of the supply chain. And on the left side, the path from the root causes to the damage. And from a balancing point of view, we will, in the first step, take care on the left side, to take strategic measures to prevent causes or triggering events from propagating through the supply chain and not to lead to a damaging event. This is indicated by these small green bars, so-called safeguards or risk controls that prevent that propagation. And in the middle, we normally have tactical measures. There could be what-if simulations. What happens if a supplier has a problem, if I have a quality problem, perhaps? What is the business at risk? What is the impact on my business? There we typically have what-if simulations where we find countermeasures to mitigate the risk. And in the middle around the damaging event, we find the monitoring, the operational monitoring of the residual risks that could not be mitigated by strategic or tactical measures. So what is our approach here to tackle with this complex situation and to find a balanced risk management? We have at the top a physical supply chain. And this supply chain is normally described by various data leading systems. And most data is, of course, in the ERP systems like SAP. But we also find a lot of Excel and a great deal of knowledge, human knowledge and experience, especially for the risk models. And now we extract all these data and bring it into a data platform. We have shown here Microsoft Fabric. There is Susan, you'll be happy. An independent layer to collect all the information. That is very much about data architecture and data management, because we have various information for the different risk domains. We have financial risk, the classical supply chain delivery risk, we have cybersecurity, and so on. And we bring it on one platform. We personally, we are in favor of Microsoft Fabric because we are one of the few certified partners for Fabric, but normally you can use also we will not use another platform. So we load now the data from the data platform in a SCRM layer. That's our functional layer, where we contain where the very risk model, digital twin of the supply chain is contained, and where we can also make analysis. What you see here, this functional layer is designed collaboratively so that all the stakeholders and parties involved in risk management can work with the same data, can make analysis on this. And that's now very interesting because the functional layer has a very high flexibility, and we can implement various use cases. One use case could be the preventive detection of risk hotspots, for example, or risk clusters in the supply chain, structural weaknesses in the supply chain. And this is supported by AI-based preventive analytics. Or in the operational field, we can also use a allocation, automated and optimized allocation, also using AI support to distribute bottleneck materials from the bottleneck node to the customers in case of a bottleneck situation. We all know the Nexperia case that is very prominent at the moment. So, and that will be exactly the topic for our roundtable discussion. We have prepared a small survey on that, on the common approach to risk management, defense in depth, if you like, also data architecture, and then we'll move on to these specific use cases. On the one hand, the preventive supply chain management, how we can build a strategic model and identify weaknesses in the supply network in advance of a real damaging event. Then a tactical impact analysis. How can we build simulations and make what-if simulations about the impact of possible events. And then on the operational side, we have the automated distribution of material, the allocation case, if we have a bottleneck situation. So if this sounds interesting to you, I look forward to seeing you at table 3, I think, at 5 p.m. Thank you very much.